Hi everybody, this is Michelle Goldstein with Heart Alchemy Yoga, and today practice is a yin practice actually with a emphasis on back bending. So obviously as a yin practice it's on the more restorative, gentle side of the yoga practice. We'll be close to the ground the whole time in this practice. You will need a block, a yoga block to practice in this particular video, so make sure you get one. If you don't have one, just get one. I was trying to think of an acceptable substitute you could use at home, and I can't think of anything that would be appropriate. So they're not expensive online, so go ahead and have one of those ready to go, and we will go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and start out on our backs. Come onto your back with your knees bent and your feet on the floor, and separate your feet a little bit wider than your hips and bring your knees together, and begin to just bring your awareness to the inner landscape of yourself. And just drop into the experience of being alive. Right here, maybe take a deep breath in, fill up your chest with breath and hold it for a moment and exhale out the mouth. Just letting go of the day, letting go of anything that's happened up until this moment. And separate your knees so that your knees are hips apart. You might have to walk your feet in a couple of inches. And we'll do some spinal rolls from here. It's a bridge flow basically. It's just moving through bridge as we roll along each of the vertebrae on the spine is the idea here. So you'll start out with your tailbone pressing firmly down into the ground, the tip of your tailbone, which will give you a bit of an arc in the lower back. It'll accentuate the curve in your lower spine. So we'll start out like that, and then just gently start to roll onto your spine, and what will happen here is that the tailbone will start to lift up off the ground, and your lower back, that arc, will start to press down into the ground. And you'll continue to roll the spine up off of the ground, one vertebra at a time, bringing it to the middle back, and then the upper back, and even the shoulders start to get a little stretch here. And then gently lower your spine back down, one vertebra at a time. One vertebra at a time, lower yourself down. The feet press down. The lower back comes down and then onto the tailbone. And we'll do this a few more times, but now we're going to add a little bit of arm movement in synchronous conjunction. So just start to roll the spine up, lift the arms up this time. As you roll the spine up, reach the arms and stretch them over your head as you bring the stretch into your upper chest. And then as you lower your spine back down, start to lower the arms down, one vertebra at a time. The arms come down one moment at a time, and you start to smooth it out as you start to press the tailbone down. Low back arcs up a little, and then back again. Press the sacrum down, low back down, the arms start to rise. The spine lifts, the chest lifts, heart opens, and lower yourself back down. The arms start to move down towards the ground. Right, vertebra by vertebra. The tailbone touches, the low back lifts. And one more time. Tilt the pelvis upwards. Arms start to lift. Heart lifts. Chest lifts up. And lower yourself vertebra by vertebra all the way down to the ground. On this last one, start to reach the arms forwards, lift the chest up for just a little abdominal activation. And then lower yourself all the way down. Keep the knees a little bent. And then from here, we'll take the right ankle and cross it over your left thigh. Flex the right foot. And we'll come in for the hip stretch. Thread the eye of the needle. Your right hand goes through this triangle between your legs, and you grab with both hands either your left hamstrings or your left shin. Keep your right foot a little bit flexed. And gently allow your left knee to come towards you. And feel your shoulders soften down into the ground, and your belly definitely can soften here into the ground. At any point, maybe you feel like you want to deepen the stretch or back it off a little bit. Be responsive to those little nuances. That is your body communicating to you. And in yoga, we practice being responsive to our needs and the needs of anything that's happening in any given moment. We're receiving direct information that can help us. And so we're learning to quiet the ego part of the mind so that we can listen inwards, learning to listen and then respond to what's happening. And so from here, you're just going to go ahead and release your hands down and set your left foot on the floor. Grab the bottom of your right foot with your right hand. Draw your right knee down by your side. So it's sort of like happy baby with the right leg, but just half a happy baby. Left knee is bent on the floor. And then we're just gonna do a little bit of hip activation here. You're gonna roll the right hip up off the floor. Take the right foot over to the left side of your space, and then roll it back down again. And the bottom of the right foot faces the sky. And then you'll come back, lifting the right hip up, drawing the right foot over to the left side of your mat, and then rolling it back down gently towards the ground. Okay, and just one more time. You'll lift the right hip up, draw the right foot over to the left. You might be feeling a stretch along and then rolling it back down, or other places. That's where I'm feeling it, but wherever you feel it is for real, it's important, it's legitimate, it's valid, so feel that. Then what you're going to do is just release the right foot to the floor and cross the left ankle over the right thigh, and we'll thread the eye on the other side. So you lift your right foot up, left hand goes through the triangle here between your legs, and you grab your right hamstrings or shin with both hands. A slight flex to the left foot. Oftentimes, as yogis, we might hear that a pose stretches a certain muscle group, for example, and we may be feeling that pose in another part of our body. And I just think it's important to remember that just because somebody says that you'll be feeling the stretch in a certain place, it's not that they're not right, because probably they are, or oftentimes they are, but the real truth of the experience is happening live in your bodies. So while this is what makes it tricky as a yoga teacher, because I can teach techniques, we can teach techniques, but the experience that you're having while you're within a pose or trying out a technique, that's where the yoga itself is happening. And so listen to your body and trust what it's telling you, because it knows. It knows. It knows what's happening, and it knows what to do. So we're just relearning our bodies and re-informing moment to moment our actions in response to the information that we're receiving. Okay, and then just gently start to allow the right knee to come towards you just for that last little bit of stretch. And you'll release your hands down and set your right foot on the floor. And with your left hand, grab the outer left foot and draw your left knee down by your left side like a sort of like a modified happy baby here, with the right foot on the ground, the right knee bent. And you'll start to roll that left hip up and point the left foot towards the right side of your mat. And then roll it back down again, slowly pressing the left hip down, and then again roll the left hip up, left foot over to the right side, and roll it back down. Draw the left knee down by your side. And one more time, roll your left hip up, take the left foot all the way over to the right, and then come back to center and set your left foot down onto the ground. And hug your knees into your chest. Okay, and then rock and roll yourself along your spine until you come all the way up to seated, and actually we'll transition from here to the all fours position. So you'll come to your hands and knees, and we'll move through some cats and cows. So plant your palms under your shoulders and your knees under your hips, and inhale, drop your belly down, arch your back, and exhale, round through your spine to cat pose. And inhale, arch your back to cow. And exhale, round yourself into cat. And one more time. Inhale, arch your back. And exhale, round yourself in to cat pose. And then bring yourself to a neutral spine. And we're actually going to move into a quick down dog. So tuck your toes under and lift your hips up. And start to push up out of your shoulders as you press your heels down towards the ground. Make sure that the outer edges of your feet are parallel, so your toes are not turned out, your feet are not turned out, but rather straight, in line with the outer edges of your mat. And spread your fingers along the floor and push up out of your shoulders. And then from here, just go ahead and set your knees back down on your mat. And walk your hands forwards in front of you and drop your forehead down towards the ground for Anahata Asana. So this is sort of like down dog with your knees on the floor, or a modified child's pose where the hips are lifted up over the knees. And you're just going to take your right arm and thread it under your left shoulder. Turn your head to the left and allow your body to soften. You can even put a little bend in your left elbow. Just notice if you're gripping anywhere, and see if you can soften those places. And if you want a little bit more, maybe you take your left arm and wrap your left hand behind your back, perhaps you catch your right thigh or something. And just be mindful that you're not forcing anything, but maybe you get a nice stretch behind your left shoulder blade here. And surrender the weight of your body into the weight of the ground. And release the left arm. And plant the left hand in front of you. And release the right arm. We're going to switch sides here. Reach the right arm straight. Slide the left arm under your right shoulder. Turn your head to the right. And just allow your body to relax into this. You can keep your eyes open or closed, whatever feels good to you. If you want a little more, maybe you take your right arm, wrap it behind your back, and catch something. Without any ambition, just letting go of any ideas of what we hope will happen, and just being precisely with what is. Just for now. There's nothing wrong with hope. Just to really bring it back to the present. Life is happening right here, right now. Okay, and then go ahead and release the right arm, reach it in front of you. And press yourself up and come back to Anahata Asana. Rest your forehead on the floor, and this time bend your elbows and walk your elbows in by your head. You want to walk the elbows in by your head and bring your palms together in front of you. You can tuck the toes or untuck the toes. It doesn't really matter, but reach the elbows forward, stretch the elbows forwards, and then bend the elbows more so that you bring that prayer, the palms together behind your back, the back of your neck, the nape of your neck. And if you kind of drop down into the armpits, you can get a stretch along the side body here in the upper back. And I also think this can be a nice time to just kind of breathe into the heart center and exhale through the fingertips. Just there's a strong connection between what we love and what we create in this world. And so just consciously connecting the two, breathing into the heart and letting go through the fingertips. Good. And then release. And again, walk yourself up onto your hands and just lower your hips down. Slide your hips back maybe a little bit for a setup for Cobra, baby Cobra pose. So from here, you can just rest your forehead down. Let's start like that. And bring your toes together. Bring your toes together. Slide your fingertips down by your lower ribs. And draw the shoulder heads back and press the tops of your feet down. So we're just going to do a series of 3 little baby Cobras. On an inhale, press your chest up off the floor, and lift the heart, and as you exhale, lower yourself back down to the ground. You can also try this on your fingertips if that helps you get a little more space. Again, press your chest up, lift your heart, and lower yourself back down. Okay, and one more time. Inhale, press your chest up to a baby Cobra, and then lower yourself down to the ground. And from here, go ahead, and you might actually want your block for this, so I forgot to bring it with me, so I'm gonna reach back and grab it. If you may or may not need it or want it, but you're gonna bring your feet together, your legs are straight behind you, and you'll take your arms out to your side like a capital T, okay? Straight out. You're going to roll onto your left side and roll onto your left side. And this is where you might want your block on the lowest level to put under your head, because this pose can be sometimes a little bit intense on the neck. So your left arm straight out behind you, right arm reaches up. Okay, so you can call this stage, actually stage 1, you could even keep the right hand on the floor. And stage 2, some of you maybe you bend your right knee and plant the right foot on the floor behind you like a bridge pose. And if you want even a little bit more, some of you reach with your right hand back for your left. And you know, it doesn't matter if you touch your hand or not, but your hands together or not. But the idea is to get a really sweet stretch in the left shoulder socket and also behind the left shoulder blade. So let your head rest and breathe gently into what you're feeling. This is such an amazing shoulder release. This one, I love it. And just imagine any tension in your body melting. You can even imagine that your shoulder was made of butter. You can imagine that your shoulder is made of butter, and as you sit in this pose, as you surrender to this pose, it's like turning up the flame. So you're just warming the butter and allowing it to just melt. Good, you guys. Okay, now we're gonna release slowly. Release the hands. Come onto your belly. Take your right arm out to your right side, and we're going to switch sides. Bring the feet together. You'll want to move the block over so that you can rest your head on the block, looking to the left, and then roll on to your right side. And then maybe you bend your left knee and plant your left foot on the floor if that feels good to you. You can keep your left hand on the ground, or some of you reach back with that left hand for the right hand. And it's of little consequence if you can grab the hands, remember. But if it starts to feel better one way over another way, then be mindful of that and honor that, especially in this practice. And again, just imagining that there's any tension that you feel is made out of butter in your right shoulder. And you can just start to warm up that butter with your awareness and feel it begin to melt. Just letting go. Letting go of anything you don't need. We'll go ahead and release this pose. Release the hands. Left hand comes back down to the floor next to you. You roll yourself to center. Go ahead and remove the block from here. Press yourself up into one last baby cobra pose. And from here, go ahead and come up to all fours, hands and knees. And we'll take a quick, we'll take a pigeon pose. So right knee over to the right side of your mat. The right foot comes to the left side of your mat. You know, people ask how deep to go in this pose. Should my right shin be parallel to the mat? in the front edge of my mat, and I do not think that that is really important at all. If it feels better to do it that way, definitely do it that way. If it feels better to take the right heel closer in towards you, then do it that way. If it feels better to sit on a block, then practice pigeon on a block. Or if all of it is irritating to your knees or hips, then come to thread the eye of the needle again onto your back. So set yourself up and rest your forehead down. And really just 2 minutes today, which is kind of a quick pigeon in many ways. Could hold this pose for some of you for, 5 minutes on each side, no problem. But allow yourself to drop into what you feel. And again, with the understanding that letting go, we talk about letting go a lot in yoga, and letting go is a process. Sometimes we can snap our fingers and we've let go of whatever's we've been holding on to. And sometimes it takes years to let go of something. So to just be present in the moment, with the patience and understanding that it's really just little bits at a time. Sometimes small, sometimes bigger, but without any expectation of when or how it's going to happen. Just breathing within the moment and releasing organically in the sense that we're not forcing anything. Just feel your right hip get heavy as you surrender the weight of your body to the weight of the floor. Good. And then go ahead and press yourself up. Plant your palms in front of you and come on up to all fours again. If you want a quick down dog, that's fine. Maybe you shake out your right leg or press your right leg straight behind you to sort of counter stretch. And set the right knee back down when you're ready and bring the left leg forwards for pigeon. And so the left side is obviously not the right side. They're different. So adjust yourself accordingly. Set it up accordingly, respectfully, and walk yourself in. You can make adjustments once you're in the pose as well. We're not frozen in any given moment, ever. So to let your body feel what needs to happen, as opposed to thinking that we know what's best for it. That's the opposite of what we're here to do. I mean, we may be right, we may actually know, but we may not be. So just listening to our partner. The body and mind are our partners, along with the heart. And just maybe you can soften something. Do a scan of your body and see where you can let go more. And then when you're ready, press yourself back up. And slide the left leg back. And you can take a little down dog, or maybe keep the right knee bent, straighten your left leg to counter stretch. And then both knees down on the ground. And bring yourself to sit on your bottom from here. And we're going to work Baddha Konasana, wide straddle forward bend. So let's see. I think I'll face this way. Separate your legs wide. This is also a good time if you have a block and it helps you to elevate your hips on a block or a blanket, then go ahead and do that. Come forwards on your sitting bones. I actually taught an instructional on this pose on YouTube, so if you want more info on it, you can certainly check that out. Otherwise, keep a slight flex in your thighs and walk yourself forwards bit by bit until you find yourself in just the right place. And you'll know because your body will tell you exactly where that is. And just feel the backs of your legs let go a little bit, release a little bit. And use your breath. Use your breath. It's one of the most powerful tools that we have. For managing stress and directing awareness and keeping us alive, moving energy through the body. Very useful. And conveniently located with us in any given moment. That's the other great thing about the breathing. Is that no matter where we are, we can always take a deep breath, or a conscious breath, at least. And then gently walk yourself up. And bend your knees and bring the soles of your feet together for Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet come together. And grab the bottom of your feet, or your ankles, whatever. Maybe you hook your big toes. Grab something that feels like the right thing. And shift your weight forwards. Come forwards onto your sitting bones, and then gently drop in. You can drop your head if that feels good to you. Be mindful that you're not rounding too much. So the goal is not to get your face on your feet in this pose. The goal is to stretch the groin and the outer hips. And even more than that, it's just to be really present within the body. So draw the shoulders back a little bit and keep the integrity of the length of your spine. We tend to round forward a lot in our just day-to-day living, and so to bring extension to the upper back is a good idea anytime you remember. And so, by the way, since you're practicing at home, if you feel like you want to stay longer in any of these postures, feel free to stay a little bit longer. But for the sake of keeping this a 45-minute video, I'm going to go ahead and transition. So I'm going to teach the transition onto the back. Bring your knees together and bring your hips close to your heels and come onto your back. But if that does not, if you want if you want to stay a little bit longer, then go ahead and do that. Okay, so from here we're going to take a restorative bridge, which is one of my favorite activities to do anyway when I'm just at home hanging out. So just like we started today, first you're going to grab your block, obviously, and just like we started today with the lifting the hips up, lift your hips up for bridge and slide the block. Start out with the block on the lowest level, just under your sacrum bone, just under the tailbone and sacrum bone. And hug your right knee into your chest. And if it feels okay to you, maybe you straighten your left leg towards the floor. So this is an excellent psoas stretch as well as a little bit of a backward bend. And now gently allow your right knee to come towards you. And then set your right foot down. Hug your left knee into your chest. And stay here or start to straighten the right leg along the ground. Left knee still hugging in. Just allow the left knee to come towards you gently. And go ahead and release the left foot. And so both of your knees are bent and we're back in this start position from here. Okay, so if you're feeling like this is enough on your back, then keep the block this level. If you want to add more, you can take the block up one more notch and feel that out. And if that feels good to you, you could even take the block up to the highest notch if that feels really good to you. You're welcome to do that too. So just for the sake of this video, I'm going to take the block to the middle level, but choose what feels right to you for sure. And you can play with keeping your knees bent, or maybe you start to straighten the legs if that feels good. If you get any tweakiness anywhere in your back, then you just rebend your knees, which I'm actually going to do myself. Just allow your body to surrender completely to the weight of the block and to the weight of the ground beneath you, the floor beneath you. You can walk the shoulder blades a little bit together under your back. It might feel nice. And you can stay here or maybe add Viparita Karani on a block, in which case you lift the legs up towards the sky and take a restorative inversion, which is another just super feel-good pose that's incredibly therapeutic. It's so good for relieving stress, this one, for cooling the parasympathetic nervous system. I used to be on my feet quite a bit throughout the day, and my legs would get pretty swollen by the end of a day, and really I would do this for a couple minutes and the swelling would go away, just like magic. So it really works, reversing the blood flow and also flushing the internal organs. There's a detoxifying aspect to an inversion like this. And so again, you can stay like this for as long as you like. If you're at home, you can just push pause on the video and stay like this, and then, hit play again when you're ready to move on to the next. Otherwise, start to bend your knees if you were in the inversion. Put your feet on the floor and lift your hips up. Remove the block And lower your sacrum down to the ground and hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then put your feet on the floor from here. And cross your right ankle over your your right knee over your left knee. So we actually want to stack the knees. The ankles are just hanging out, not doing anything, right? The hips lift up and over to the right side of your mat. And then you're going to drop your knees to the left for a twist. And then come back to center, unravel the legs, bring the hips back to center, stack the left knee on top of the right knee, and take your hips 2 inches to the left this time, and drop your knees to the right. Left arm to the floor on your left side. If there's another twist that you prefer, you're welcome to take that too, of course. Good, you guys. And then come back to center. Uncross the legs. Square off the hips. Hug your knees into your chest. And go ahead and set yourself up for Shavasana, everybody. So set yourself up to let go. Get yourself really comfortable on your back. And allow your body to rest. In fact, I actually was speaking to a student here in LA who's been doing these online videos, and he told me that he'll just, at the end of class, he'll just put on some really nice meditative music and take a proper Shavasana. So just putting that out there is a nice suggestion. And rest here for as long as you like. And when you're finished, just transition slowly, easily up to sit. And close your eyes. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. May we be at peace. May our hearts remain open. May we know the beauty of our own true nature. May we be healed. May we be sources of healing in the world. Lift your heart and bow your head. Namaste, everyone. Namaste. Thank you so much for putting in your efforts and for following us here on Heart Alchemy Yoga. Feel free to like and share the videos on your social media and subscribe to the channel for regular offerings from a community of amazing teachers to inspire your yoga practice. Thank you so much.